Okay, beautiful. So welcome to all the souls that are here with me in person, and welcome to all of you who are watching the recording. If you don't know me, my name is Andrea, and I am a psychotherapist and a kundalini yoga teacher in Toronto, Canada. And I am very interested in how we all can support each other and support ourselves through self-leadership in these very trying and transformative times. I believe that all of us are being called to do the work, as they say, during these times, in order to help birth a new consciousness, a new experience here on this planet, and to uplift where we're at now. And these trying times, I like to think of it like a birth, right? Like birth is not easy. And there's going to be moments when we think that nothing's going to get better. There's moments when we think that we can't do it. And there's moments when we realize that we need each other to get through it. So that's where I'm coming from. And I am very blessed. And I feel extremely grateful to work with clients in my private practice one-on-one that teach me every day about what it is to inhabit a human body and a human mind system, to be a soul here on this planet right now, and the complexities of that, the complexities of healing our wounds and our traumas and dealing with the mind. I'm really interested in how we navigate this complex mind. And in my journey in learning about the mind and the mind-body system, I came across a teacher named Yogi Bhajan who brought a particular style of yoga meditation to the West, called kundalini yoga. Now, all yoga is designed to help move the energy in the system to help us be able to access different parts of ourselves, and also different, more productive, creative thought forms and energies coming in to us. So all yoga is designed for this. I particularly like kundalini yoga for many different reasons, but you have to decide for yourself. It's a self-initiation. You have to decide for yourself what works for you, right? That's what it means to have self-leadership. And so it's your job to try things out and to try things on for size, and listen to your body about what it needs from you and where it's guiding you. So thank you so much for being here in this class with me. Thank you for showing up to try something. Maybe it's new for you. Maybe you've never tried kundalini yoga. Maybe you're just dabbling in it. Wherever you are is totally fine. And you probably already know, if you're watching this, that meditation and yoga and breath work, there's many different styles, all have some beneficial aspect to them. And that in order for us to be able to overcome the monkey mind that we all have, we have to be able to actually set aside a little bit of time each day, if possible, to practically administer some of these techniques, whichever ones you decide are good for you, to get out of the automatic structures that we're in and into the more conscious awareness, mindfulness, and self-authority type headspace. That doesn't happen automatically. It takes work. It takes a little bit of effort. And luckily, it doesn't have to take a ton of effort. I was listening to a colleague the other day who just was reminding folks that if you just added 3 deep breaths between doing the dishes and talking to your spouse, or between, doing your morning routine, brushing your teeth, and then getting to work, like just 3 deep breaths, that doesn't require you to know kundalini yoga. That doesn't require you to go to some breathwork, class, although those are great. It can be very simple. And it's the action, it's the intention that you are choosing to switch from a place of automatic structure of mechanism to a more conscious place. And really, that's all it takes. I mean, that would take you like a minute, I think. Everybody can take a minute. So this is where we kind of, get into the challenges of our own defenses and our own resistance. And also just how powerful that automatic brain is. Because I'm sure, many of us would say, okay, I get that, Andrea, but like, why is it so hard to do? And I'm in the same boat. Like we all have to navigate these resistance and defenses and things like that. But part of it is just the overwhelm. Part of it is the overwhelm that we're getting in terms of information at this time. Part of it is the overwhelm of how much energy we have to sort of calibrate to, whether that be in our family, in our culture, or in our space, or our own energies too. Lots of things to navigate. So, but as I'll just repeat, because it's always good to hear again, that meditation and breath work of some kind, even 3 deep breaths, is beneficial on so many levels. So let's remind ourselves in this moment why it's so beneficial, because that helps us to overcome these ways that we resist ourselves and resist these tools. So just to name a few benefits, meditation will decrease our stress response, and that decreases our cortisol and other hormonal responses that we're having in the body, in the endocrine system. That affects our hormones. For women in particular, we often will be out of balance hormonally, which affects our mood. But meditation helps to calibrate and helps to reduce some of those stress hormones that are pumping through the body, that all of us are feeling just navigating these, modern day times, right? It also increases our digestion and helps us to actually receive the nutrients that we are ingesting. It increases our immune fortification, which is obviously important for many reasons. It helps us to communicate better with ourselves and our own emotional state, which helps us to communicate then with others around us. And it also helps us to integrate our emotions, right? The ability to observe what we're experiencing and to have that ability to micro detach from any intense emotions, which is hard. Helps us to then integrate that information. It helps the mind-body system to not always feel so stuck in those emotional places, right? Again, emotions are energy, and energy moves when we intentionally move it. So lots and lots of benefits. Those are just a few to get you thinking about it again. So today I want to talk about how to deal with a threat. That's the name of the meditation that we're experimenting with today. So obviously we live in a world that has actual threat, but we also live in a mind-body system where our unconscious self will perceive threat a lot of the time, whether it be in our relationships or, usually that's the place where it shows up perceptually. I'm sure there's other examples, but that's the main one that comes to my mind. We have these automatic knee-jerk reactions to our boss, our children, our partners, our family members, where we assume that there is a threat taking place, right? And this is often a trauma response because probably there was a threat taking place at some point, right? Maybe there was threat of feeling rejected, threat of humiliation, threat of disconnection or abandonment. So very real things that we experience in our relationships. But oftentimes then in adulthood, that negative mind that wants to look for threat is very active in all of us. And we also live in a culture that really promotes that. If you haven't noticed on the news or anywhere where we're getting media, most of the time there's a hypnotic frequency of fear. And so that just promotes our being on edge and our being in this place of negative mind searching for a threat. So not that it's a bad thing. Obviously, we need to have a negative mind. What I'm calling negative, think about it as polarity, not like good and bad per se. And that's a judgment. We're talking about polarity, right? Like think about the magnetic poles of the planet. One is on one side, one is on the other. We have our negative mind that's looking for threat and concerned with safety. We have our positive mind that's looking for solutions and creativity. Okay. So negative mind not being a bad thing, but negative mind in terms of what its function is. So where's it going with that? It's interested in making sure that we feel safe. It's interested in scanning our environment. It's often connected to our defenses, right? Are the ways that we either push people away in order to protect ourselves, or we I mean, I guess we could be on the attack. That would be the other way, right? Sort of blaming, shaming, all the things that we do to feel safety within us, right? Controlling the outside world, as we talk about often, and then not feeling safe on the inside really is what we're struggling with, and that's really hard to deal with. And then when we're not feeling safe, we oftentimes experience self-doubt. We've experienced that we can't trust that we're safe. We can't trust that we can make ourselves safe. And oftentimes we turn that frustration and that fear toward ourselves as though we're doing something wrong. And of course, this leads to anxiety and hypervigilance and the mind constantly searching for safety rather than connection. Right? We have to be in our green zone, as they say, when polyvagal theory, and our social engagement place in order to be able to foster that safe communication and that safety with the other person or even with ourselves, actually. So we don't want to harp on our negative mind. We don't want to even though it's natural to be frustrated, we want to try to avoid the rejection of self, right? The rejection of the part of us that wants to create safety, and instead to just simply observe that and try to be curious about it and build a functional relationship with it. Because only then we can kind of actually create that internal feeling of safety rather than having to create the safety outside of us. Now, obviously, you want to actually be safe. So let me just put a caveat in here that if you are physically or emotionally actually not safe in your space, that's a problem, right? That you need to potentially deal with the environment, right? But I'm talking about specifically how we create safety within ourselves and how we deal with our projections of lack of safety and threat. Hope that makes sense. That's a really important distinction. If you're not clear about that, make sure you talk to somebody in your life that you trust to explore, what those boundaries are. Okay. On the other hand, if we're out of balance, so to speak, and that negative mind is taking over and searching for threat and putting us on the attack or on the defense, another version of this imbalance, you could say, is the denial of any threat. So this would be a response where we minimize that there's anything wrong, minimizing that, that there is an actual threat happening around us, and not reacting appropriately. And then also require, like, the mind asking for, being too analytical about it, like asking for evidence, right? Is this really actually an unsafe thing? You can think about the multiple responses that we had in the beginning when coronavirus showed up. It's very natural to have had many reactions to that. I don't know if you observed anybody in your life who had an underreaction, you might call it. I know that's a big topic, so maybe that's not the best example, but let's just look at the human response. And some people, when they hear of information or they perceive a threat, they sort of want to rely on their analytical brain to totally make sense of it, and then they believe that there's a threat. So both of these reactions is a little bit more on the extreme perspective, or on the what the yogis call an imbalance. Okay. The nice thing is that we can actually work on balancing these things, so we don't have to be concerned that, if we find ourselves reacting a little too much, I guess you could say, or a little too little, that's fundamentally a problem, and we need to go into despair around that. We do not have to go in despair around that. We don't have to go into despair, although that's a very valid emotion. We've got lots of tools and lots of ways through. So what happens when we can balance that out a little bit? A couple things change. Number one, we can respond quickly and efficiently and fearlessly, regardless of the size of the problem or the opposition. That's what we want to have happen. I'm very aware that this is challenging. So, I may be explaining it in simple terms. I'm very aware that, actually facing these issues takes time to process and to navigate to get to this place. But isn't it great that we've got these tools to help us do that? So again, when we're feeling more balanced in this negative mind calibration, We're able to stay focused on creative solutions in the moment and problem solving responses, as opposed to fight, flight, minimize. We have a mental agility to kind of be able to observe what's happening in terms of the threat, and also be able to stay connected to that prefrontal cortex that helps us to gauge what would be best used, what would be most useful in this situation as a way of responding to this threat that still provides safety for me and also deals with whatever's happening in front of me. It's like a dual awareness, right? What do I need in this situation, and what does the situation need from me? And it helps us to take that step beyond fear. So obviously fear is natural and it's an emotion and it's okay, but we need to be able to take one step beyond it and again, sort of engage in other parts of our very sophisticated brain in order to help us move beyond that fear and move into a more solution focused kind of agility, the agility to maneuver a situation. And of course, as we continue to gain this caliber, then our inner environment becomes more peaceful, more balanced, and we can affect our reality. And that's really important. That's the thing I want to highlight here as I close this talk. We want to be able to remind ourselves that we actually create our reality. And I know that's a big topic. But the more we can learn to regulate our nervous system, the more we can learn to process and integrate some of those traumas that we've had, the more we can create this knowing in the inner environment that actually the way that we project in the world, the way that we show up and the way that we respond in the world is within our control. It's not something we're taught from childhood. So it's totally new learning. But that's where we can begin to build more trust with self. Okay, so it happens little by little, and it happens with intention, practicing things like this or doing your 3 deep breaths in your day. I was reminded recently of this concept of the iceberg and how we are, our consciousness or our mind is really like an iceberg. So the 10% or so that's above the water is what we would call our consciousness, our conscious mind, the mind that knows what's going on here now, right? That leaves 90% under the water. What is that? That's our unconscious and subconscious self. That's a lot, right? So we cannot expect our 10% self to be able to carry the weight or to be able to maneuver that 90% all by itself unless we enhance our capacity. So it's really great to even be thinking about how you can integrate meditation into your life if you haven't already. And again, if you're here, then you are participating in that thought. So congratulations and thank you for being here. Okay, so I think without further ado, let us move into our meditation today. We're going to do a couple short ones first just to get warmed up, and then we're going to try this how to deal with a threat meditation together. Okay, so in Kundalini Yoga, we always start with something called a tune-in, and we chant the mantra Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo 3 times. And we do this in order to connect with our internal self, our higher self, and we also do it to connect to the teachers that have come before us that have helped to pave the way and bring lots of wisdom forth for us. So I invite you to find a tall spine if you want to do this sitting in a chair, or if you want to do this sitting on the floor in easy pose, legs crossed, you can do that. Okay, it's up to you. And let's start with just connecting to this moment a little bit more. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. Find your tall spine, lifting the chest slightly, tucking the chin slightly. And give yourself an opportunity to really come into this moment by taking those 3 deep breaths we talked about a moment ago. Sorry, there's a big truck going by. Okay. So drawing air into the belly and exhaling. And noticing how you can bring that mind in a little bit as you focus on that breath. Noticing how you feel as you have taken your 3 deep belly breaths. And let's remember to invite ourselves to actually enjoy this, right? We can find joy in this practice. It's allowed. It's encouraged, in fact. It's a busy day out there. So here's a challenge for us to stay focused, even when there's things going on around. I don't know if you can hear that siren. Palms together. Let us rub the palms together, stimulating all those nerve endings on our hands. Pressing the palms together, chest up, shoulders back. The palms are at the heart center. We're going to take an inhale and an exhale to begin first. Now take an inhale to begin. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale. Now suspend the breath, squeeze the lower part of the body, press the palms together, tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth. And exhale, relax the arms down, stay in the condition, and we're going to move into cat-cow. So you can slowly make your way into cat-cow now. Okay, here we go. You're inhaling Sat, exhaling Nam, bending the spine. The movement comes from the base of the spine. So if you're not clear, what we're doing is we've got you're on your all fours, you're on your hands and your knees, and your heels are together, and you're inhaling, mentally chanting Sat, exhaling, mentally chanting Nam when you're bringing the navel to the spine. And you want to envision this motion is like an undulation starting from the tailbone. Okay, and breathe deeply and enjoy this feeling. Now inhale, hold the breath. Exhale, pull the navel to the spine, hold the breath out. Inhale and allow yourself to come down into child's pose. Your hands are above you, just palms together. Rest your forehead on the floor as best you can. And use this moment to breathe deeply into your back body, into your spine. And send an intention into that space. Send an intention for healing, for expansion, for trust and connection, whatever it may be. Now take a nice deep inhale and exhale, and slowly make your way back up into easy pose. Okay, good job. We're going to move into the addiction meditation, which is one of my personal favorites. The reason is because it is so good at getting at that deep brain habitual patterning, whether it be behavioral thought patterns, whatever the thing is that we are kind of stuck in that automatic monkey brain. So you don't have to actually know what that is to get benefit from this meditation. You just have to work on trusting that this meditation does what it's supposed to do. So like any of these meditations, you're building a relationship with the mantra, with the shape, which is called mudra, and with the breath, which is what gives us prana, life force. So you're building a relationship, right? It's like you're going on a date with this meditation. You're getting to know it. You're kind of, trying it on for size, seeing if it's a good fit, seeing how you can relate to it differently if you allow it, listen a little deeper, or whatever the thing is, right? How can I show up differently for this? It's an exercise in a relationship. Okay. So placing the hands in this mudra, this shape, you're going to put your fingers onto as close as you can to the mounds of your hands. Your thumbs are pointing out, and they're going to just nestle here into your temples. You're going to have the eyes closed, the shoulders back and down, and you're focusing here at the third eye between the brow point. Your jaw is closed, your teeth are together, and you're gently going to pulse them. And with every pulse, you're going to be using this mantra, sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. There's lots of encoded information in this mantra, so try to trust it and just allow it to come in. We're going to do this for 3 minutes. I know you can do it. Focus deeply on your breath and on the mantra itself if you need help anchoring. Okay, here we go. And take a deep inhale. Hold the breath. And exhale, relax the arms down, stay in the condition. Okay, beautiful. Nice job. Okay. All right. So now we're going to move into our how to deal with a threat meditation. Okay. So we're going to do this in a seated pose, just like you are right now. I'm going to sit on my pillow, give myself a bit more support. You can shake out your legs for a minute if you'd like while I explain what we're doing. Okay. So we are going to have our arms kind of like this. The mudra is all the fingertips together, and the arms are just relaxed down by the body, and your hands are kind of up at a 60-degree angle. So they're not parallel to the ground. They're kind of up a little bit. Okay. And we are going to focus very deeply on the third eye, which is in this spot in the head, just up and in. The eyes are going to be closed, and we're going to do some breath work with this. Okay, so I'll explain it first, and then we'll do it together. What you're going to do is take a very deep inhale, and then you're going to exhale it all out, and you're going to hold the breath out, and you're going to pull in the navel and squeeze the mullaband, which is the pelvic muscles, so the rectum, sex organs. You're going to pull it up and squeeze the lower part with the navel. And during the squeezing and the breath out, you're going to mentally chant, but I'm going to chant out loud to keep us timed together. We're going to chant sa ta na ma 4 times. So it's going to be 16 beats altogether. Sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma. Wait, did I get that right? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do that together, but I'm gonna lead you through it. Okay, so let's start in this position, and let's all take a very deep inhale. Now exhale, hold the breath out, and you're going to mentally chant with me. Sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma. Deeply inhale. And exhale. Squeeze the lower body. Mentally chant with me. Sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma. Deeply inhale. Focusing at the third eye the whole time, and deeply exhale. Holding the breath out, squeeze. Sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma. Deeply inhale. Exhale. All the way out, squeeze, focusing at the third eye. Sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma. Deeply inhale. Exhale. All the way out to the pause, squeeze and hold. Sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma. Deeply inhale. And exhale. Holding out. Sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma. Deeply inhale. Just do your best. Follow along as best you can. Exhale. Take a breath or take a break if you need to. Satanama, 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 Satanama. Deeply inhale. Exhale. Holding out. Satanama, 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 Satanama. Deeply inhale. And exhale. Squeeze and hold. Satanama, 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 Satanama. Deeply inhale. And exhale. Holding the breath out, mentally chanting with me. Satanama, 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 Satanama. Deeply inhale. And exhale. Holding the breath out, squeeze. We're going to do 1 more minute of all of this. Satanama, 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 Satanama. Inhale. Exhale. Hold the breath out. Satanama, 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 Satanama. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Squeezing the lower part of the body, focusing on the lower part, the navel. Satanama, 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 Satanama. Deeply inhale. And exhale. Satanama, 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 Satanama. 1 more. Inhale. Hold the breath. Exhale. Hold the breath out. Satanama, 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 Satanama. Last time, inhale and exhale. Relax the arms down and take a minute. Allow the nervous system to calibrate, giving yourself a pat on the back for doing your very best. Good job. Well done, everybody. Excellent work. So we build up to doing that amount of time. If you start with 1 minute, that's great. If you can do the full 5 minutes or beyond, that's great too. Okay, so we're going to end with the Longtime Sun prayer. This is a prayer. And as we sing this prayer, we are dedicating this first and foremost to somebody that we know and love. Then we're dedicating it to a stranger who may need this prayer. And the third time we are sending this prayer to our own heart. And the words are, may the longtime sun shine upon you. May all love surround you and the pure light within you guide your way on. Okay, here we go.
May the longtime shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within guide your way on. Guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on.
Okie dokie. Thank you everyone so much for being here. We're going to end with one long sat, one short nam. Okay, let us inhale. Sat nam. Sat nam. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for being here. And have a beautiful day.